welcome to another episode of Two Noobs Talking. That's right. We are the trio that puts the odd in podcasting. To my right, or your left, or I don't know, something. He's on.
I'm over here.
He's
I'm
over there.
over here.
He is jarringly John Tracy. Over on this side, whatever direction that is, he is miraculously Matt Craig. I am here in the center and am succulently Steve Harvey.
I never want to hear you say that ever again.
Oh my!
I'm putting my foot down.
Well, you know, I heard the ladies' viewership of our show has gone up recently, so
it has.
Well,
thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies.
For one thing, you have hair. I mean, that helps. You know, in that regard. I'm just saying.
But it's hidden. So that's right. It is episode 133, which is in Roman numerals CXXXXIII, I believe.
Wow.
I think so.
I'm gonna fact check that.
Okay.
I wouldn't be the least bit surprised.
I'm sure you're right.
Correct.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. But while you fact check that, it allows me to remind everyone that 133 is also the amount of years that Joe Biden has been asleep at the wheel.
He's that old?
Yeah. Well. Yeah, like Johnny.
You notice that I did not even argue the fact that he's asleep at the wheel. I was just doing the age. What racist thing did he say in Ireland just recently? I can't keep up anymore.
I can't even keep up. Yeah.
Can we just put him back in the basement? He can finish out his time.
Please.
It's fine.
You know, they have a bowling alley in the basement of the White House. I think we could put him down there and bowl for the rest of his life.
Why can't he just do that? I'd be fine with that. My taxpayer money, I'd be very happy to him live out his life where he's not doing the shit he's doing.
You go down there, find him passed out on the bowling lane.
I do have a past career in which I could help him out, but I wouldn't talk to him if I had to. I would choose other citizenship. Moving on.
All right. Moving on. Well, so as we always do here, well, I guess I'll ask you how you're doing, even though we've been talking for 2 minutes already. Matt, what's going on in the KFP?
Yeah, everything is exploding with pollen here in the King of Prussia area, Steve. My car has now turned from a nice shiny black to a pollen green mist, which is
the green gremlin.
Yeah, it's turned into green gremlin. Exactly. It's destroyed my sinuses, and I have been fighting a cold ever since, or trying to get it all out of my system. It's horrible. Other than that, all good. All good. Loving life.
Well, while we're breathing in the green pollen, John, what are you doing down there in the big state of Texas?
Breathing in the green pollen. But I do have to throw it back to Matt. Matt needs to tell everybody about his Roomba. Matt has a Roomba, and it's awesome.
So, gents, I have, as you guys both know, I'm still looking for, my future wife to be soon, hopefully, down the road. But I have reached pure 100% unadulterated bachelorhood. I do not do any vacuuming whatsoever after purchasing a Roomba. And this thing is the greatest invention I have ever purchased, technologically wise. I have to blame John. Last week, he put the thought into my head, you should get a Roomba. And I was like, you know what? Whatever John says, I'll do.
I did not mean that.
You're in trouble now, buddy.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm affecting purchases of other people. I need to go in the basement with Joe Biden.
No, but it's really cool. It's a neat little thing, and
awesome.
Now scheduled to do it once a week, and I don't even have to think about vacuuming, which is a weird, scary thing, but at the same time, it's also a really cool convenience.
That is cool.
That's all I've got to say about that.
Until it runs over your foot.
Until it runs over my foot, and I die from it. Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of forcing people to purchase things, here comes our fun fact and over 40 rant brought to you by W Energy Drinks. Visit w.gg, DUBBY. Pick out your favorite flavor. Enter the promo code 2NoobsTalking. That's TOO Noobs with an N, not a B, talking, and get 10% off your purchase. John, what's your fun fact for the week?
Well, let's start with they stopped W Energy Drink, stopped their production on some shitty coffee flavor, which I'm appreciative of because
Probably
I don't
a good idea.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
That game is not my game. I like hot coffee, not cold coffee. So I'm glad that they stopped that. But
Yeah, but they're leading off now, Johnny. They're leading off with Cali O Cream Energy Drink Tub. I don't know what Cali O Cream is.
Try it out. Use the Two Noobs. Let us know.
There you go.
I kind of like the one that Matt brought up a couple weeks ago. That the tiers, the bucket.
Yeah, the
tiers.
big energy tiers energy drink tub for $39.99.
Right. I mean, the saline of Matt's tears fuels my ego.
On that note, I will tell you my fun facts. So, just looking at a list of random facts, I found this one hilarious because it makes complete sense, but it's ridiculous that it has to be a thing. It is illegal to own just one guinea pig in Switzerland. The reason it is illegal is because it's considered animal abuse because the animals are so social.
Oh,
and they would get lonely. So they put a law in place. I love the behind the law stuff. Steve is a lawyer. I'm sure he does too. But the reason it was created, that's my thing. So yeah, it is illegal to have just one guinea pig because they find the guinea pig to be social and they would get lonely. So you have to have more than one.
I'm just picturing parents in, you said Switzerland?
Mm-hmm.
I'm picturing parents in Switzerland where their 6-year-old owns 2 guinea pigs and one of them dies and they freak out like, oh my God, we got to go to the pet store immediately or we're going to get arrested for animal cruelty.
I'm sure you get some kind of 24 to 48 hour.
So
I don't think Switzerland has that kind of surveillance.
It's no China. We know that.
Exactly.
Interestingly enough. All right, Matt, speaking of pigs, let's go to your over 40 rant because you got one you want to rant about here.
Oh, yeah. So my over 40 rant is based on one host in particular who hosts Phillies post game live, Michael Barkan. What the hell?
Here.
Gents, the baseball season has started, as you guys know. 14 games into the season. Phillies kind of off to a slow start, 5-9. They're 5 back of the Braves. Braves are 10-4. No surprise the Braves are ahead. They're a much better team, I think, in terms of their roster construction right now. We're dealing with a little bit of injury. Obviously, Harper out, Derrickall out, all these kind of guys, and pitching's been kind of trying to catch up a little bit. Michael Barkan, though, when you ask him on Phillies post-game live after every loss, oh gosh, everything's falling. It's over. The season is all done. We have nothing to do. I am done with this dude. I have been done with Michael Barkan for the last 10 years. There's like over 140 games left in Major League Baseball. I think this message for Michael Barkan, I think we can push the anti-lock brakes on the car right now before we go over the cliff. We got enough time to do it. Let's allow the team to kind of get a little bit healthy, and then the hitting season will come, and then we'll be right back into the race. Take your stupid blue glasses off, and like a normal human being, put on some actual glasses that don't distract me. This message brought to you by Craig Matthews.
Just to finish your over 40. You guys both followed me on Facebook. This was my post on Facebook after the World Baseball Classic when Trey Turner put on a performance. I put out, and we're all gonna be, not meaning us, we're all gonna be all over him when he goes 1 for 41. This is exactly what I was talking about. Philly sports media led by Michael Barkan, and not including Eagle guys, because I think they do a pretty good job. I think the Flyer guys and the Sixers guys all sky is falling all the time. They have no ability. And this, like, I like Ricky Bo, but he does that same shtick. And it bothers me. It's like almost like, oh, we lost 4 games. Oh, it's the end of the world because these guys could never get better. They could never practice a little harder. They could never take extra BP.
They lose an extra inning game. They lose an extra inning game to Cincinnati, and suddenly the sky is falling. Oh God, this is unacceptable. They shouldn't have lost it. It's 1 game out of 162. Calm down, please, for the love of God. Please.
And we don't have to recover. Get over it.
Yeah. Yeah, and those stupid blue glasses, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what possessed them to kind of go like, yep, those are the ones. I want to look the most annoying as possible. I want to stand out more.
They do stand out, that's for sure.
They are. They don't match anything though. They don't even match team color. Like,
I think
at this point, I want to see them like do orange for the Flyers, red for the Sixers, and green for the Eagles. I want to see that.
I would respect that more than bad fashion. Like, he has bad fashion.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Gotta miss the days of John Bork suiting it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of Philly sports, spoiler alert: Sixers beat the Nets 121-101.
There you go.
That's really a spoiler alert because we'll probably be past Game 3 by the time this episode.
And Ben's butt still hurts, so we're just moving on.
Well, I don't think he's playing again. Just saying. No. Off the top of my head.
Probably not. And he's probably okay with that. Yeah. All right, so let's finally dive into topic 1 here.
He'll be a Thunder by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Topic 1. And this is going to be the I Told You So segment. Oh. Because I am now going to share something that came out, I guess this was November 16th of 2022.
Wow. Mm-hmm. On this very podcast.
On this very podcast. Here we go.
Vehicle headlights. What the hell? Is it just me? Or have they gotten brighter over the last
Oh, they've definitely gotten
years?
Brighter. Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, they're definitely brighter.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's also you.
every vehicle that comes at me at night, I feel like their high beams are on.
Yep.
Me being
100%.
the knucklehead I am, I then stare down the car to see if their high beams are on, further blinding myself. And then I realize they're not on.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder what the hell these vehicle manufacturers are thinking by, making blinding regular headlamps for their vehicles.
One can only wonder. Yeah, one can only wonder what that might be. That might be the extra plutonium that they may have in their batteries. Who knows?
So, gentlemen, I don't want to say I could influence the world with my over 40 rants back then, but topic 1, as I said, 6 ABC eyeball news article.
Yeah, baby.
Thousands of drivers sign petition calling for ban on blinding vehicle headlights.
Oh my. Dun, dun, dun.
Once again, 2 noobs influencing the world. According to the article, if you feel blinded by the lights when driving, you're not alone. I have a support group. Thousands are complaining that vehicle headlights are getting brighter and causing more glare, and at least one group says it's dangerous. About half of all fatal crashes happen in the dark, and headlights make a difference in crash rates. The Soft Lights Foundation is calling for a ban on what it calls blinding headlights, circulating a petition
that sounds inexpensive.
It has more than 41,000 signatures, gentlemen.
That's a lot.
According to the president of the foundation, Mark Baker, he's got a small car. A truck is so much higher than he is. Those headlights are going to go straight into his eye. And as it turns out, more people are buying taller vehicles. In 2010, 56% of vehicles sold were SUVs or trucks. And by 2021, they accounted for 81%.
Absolutely.
How is that going to be safe? So there's a mismatch between small cars and super large cars that the NHTSA should be having standards for. And the Soft Lights Foundation says another factor is LEDs. The intensity and color temperature distract drivers, causing accidents and illness like migraines and more. It says we're very concerned about long-term health of our eyes, such as macular degeneration. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, IIHS, tests and rates headlights for visibility and glare. But the biggest contributor for glare may be misaim. If the aim is wrong, after they've been put on the vehicle, the lights are going to be pointed too high, and they can cause too much glare, according to a senior research engineer at the IIHS. So it turns out I'm not the only one voicing this concern. John, do you find this? You're in a truck most of the time, though, so I don't know how you feel. But do you find this to be a similar problem?
It affects me just as it does affect the smaller cars. The thing that in the article that impressed me is they're hitting the right point. This is something that needs to be regulated, and it needs to be, whether it's inspection once a year, so you could probably put it in there, not just because inspection is only your headlights work. What about if they just put one more line in, says that your headlights aligned? Think about how that would change the game. It's one simple thing that I'm sure a mechanic wouldn't mind doing. Measuring. A guy could make $1 billion making a stick.
Well, I was going to say you could probably
the alignment.
You could probably.
I might work on that after this.
You could probably up the inspection rate by $20 if you add in the aiming test.
And nobody cares. You don't see blogs on the internet being, oh my god, state inspection is so expensive. Because it's a reliable thing. Humans they're not dumb. If you give them a reason and put a price tag on it, most people aren't going to bitch about that. You're really not like you have to get your wheels tested. Why? Because your wheel might fall off and kill people. Well, I'd rather have my wheel tested than my wheel fall off and kill people. It's logic is easy, and this is something that obviously the federal government never even thought of, which we know because they're dumb. This institute is bringing a good, maybe we need to work on the alignment of it, and that's awesome. We should. Where are the congressmen now? Let's work on this shit. Let's put it in the state inspection and get this thing over with. Then less crashes.
Yeah, and not just the alignment, Johnny, but also the temperature of the LEDs. Really, I think what the article really kind of just brought out to me was LEDs are very strong. I mean, they're energy efficient for sure, but they are also, to Steve's point in the article, they are incredibly powerful. They really shine. And if it's misaligned, if those headlines are just off and you got an LED, all of a sudden that glare, it feels as if you're staring into a high beam, which is incredibly dangerous, especially if you're heading the opposite direction to that incoming car. You have no idea where you're going and what road you're on, or where your car is in relation to the road. And you want to talk about distraction, good Lord almighty. You might as well just hold on for dear life at that point. But it's only a few seconds. But yeah, I mean, the temperature, I think, also would need to be regulated as well. If you can bring that down just a little bit.
Well, that's an interesting point, because when I think about LEDs, the first time I think they ever sort of made their way into mainstream life was with Christmas lights.
Yes.
But the first strings of Christmas lights, you looked at them and they were like, this is wrong. But they were super bright and they hurt your eyes.
Yes.
But now they have a version, I think it's called warm or something along that line. It looks a hell of a lot more like a regular incandescent Christmas light, as opposed to the ones that burn a hole in your retina. Which I'm sure is the type they're using in these vehicle headlights, because you gotta see more. Let's burn away the fog with this super bright LED.
But less is more. Like the LED lights behind me, there are settings on the control to make them not so you can. I don't even know if I can do it from here, but you can make them brighter. You can make them not. I probably not because the controller's all the way over there. But what I'm saying is, you can do. These don't get hot.
No.
But like Steve is saying, they're using the bulbs that do get super bright.
Yeah.
But that's also because there's nobody in charge of this. Because since LED has become a bulb thing, my partner was telling me on his truck, the marker lights that are on top, he switched to LED because everybody says LED. It shorted out his entire truck system because they are too powerful for the wiring that's already in there. So nobody's trying. They're just putting bulbs in. Oh, they're less energy efficient. Let's put it in. It's the same stuff we're dealing with the EVs and all that stuff. Nobody's thinking. Nobody's making up. Nobody's following the rules. And hey, maybe we should think about this. This institute actually seems like they have a sense of the market.
Yeah. Well, the good news is, according to a little further down the article, overall, even with all of these things, the amount of glare that an average vehicle is putting out is actually coming down over the past few years. For the 2023 model year, the IIHS found 5% of the headlights tested had excessive glare, compared with 20% in the 2017 model year. Adaptive driving beams continuously adjust the beams and are now legal to use, but experts say it could be years before that technology becomes common.
Interesting.
As we were discussing, LEDs can be brighter than halogen bulbs, which means they have the potential to produce more glare when misaimed. When properly aimed, however, a brighter headlight can improve visibility without providing excessive glare, and this is exactly what we're looking for with the headlight ratings program in the IIHS. The IIHS will continue to push for better headlights that light the road and limit glare. Recent research confirms that nighttime crash rates per mile are nearly 20% lower for vehicles with headlights that earn a good rating in the IIHS evaluation compared with those with poor rated headlights. So it sounds like even without state or federal regulation, the car companies are figuring this out and realizing that they're blinding me with the lights. And
just Steve, not anybody else, just Steve.
Right.
That's really good, though. I think it's also, to your point, Steve, market reaction. They're seeing this. They're seeing the fact that the statistics are showing that more nighttime crashes are happening. Okay, well, what would be the most, the biggest issue with that? Nighttime glare. And yeah, I have noticed it too. It's funny that it's 2017 because mine was the year prior to that, 2016, my car. And I have LEDs basically around the rims of the halogen bulb, and then I have the LEDs at the bottom, kind of like the fog lamps or whatever. But in terms of, I know that there are some car manufacturers back then that you had 100% LED in the actual halogen bulb. So instead of having halogen, they just have the regular LED. And yeah, I remember driving around like thinking about that in 2018-19, thinking like, whoa, some of them were incredibly bright. And it's like, whoa, is there any way you could turn that down just a little bit? But yeah, that's good. That's encouraging to know that, the manufacturers are starting to, reduce the amount of glare in the LEDs.
I'm just glad it's not my eyes. It's
yes,
actually
it is definitely not your eyes.
Because when I first
you're not crazy.
Yeah. Right. Well, when I first started noticing it, I'm like, is it because I'm getting old? But it's
that's what I always thought. But this is something I just want to throw at the end. These are the kind of things that I think we should be expressing that the government should be looking at instead of the dog and pony show that they put out all the time. These are the kind of important things. Like, this is what I would rather my elected officials oversee and make sure that it's done properly with funding and everything. I'm sure this group doesn't have the amount of funding that they could get from a congressman going, hey, let's solve this by 2024. We're making steps to solve this. Having government officials to be like, you know what, I'm going to put something out there that says that all manufacturers need to do this by 2028, right? Arbitrary deadline, but still, that would help the companies because they could get government funding from that.
Yeah.
And we could move it along quicker instead of a dog and pony show about dumb shit.
Yeah, and having the free market react, I think, is another key component to that too, Joe.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely. But if the free market reacts, then the congressman should help the free market finish the job. And I think that's an important point to it. Instead of just having this nonprofit organization or a profit organization that has to pull teeth to get it done.
Yeah, but I think the fact that they're doing it on their own in reaction to the market, to Matt's point, is more than encouraging.
No, it gives them. It gives them a reason to for us to pull the article out. But if we could get the help from the next step, that's where I think we could work together. Having this people come along and give you all the information, like all of it, right?
Yeah, kind of like push it across the finish line.
And then someone step up to finish it is what I'm kind of saying.
Yeah, they kind of push it across the
instead
finish
of
line.
waiting instead of waiting forever for this to be done.
Yeah.
All right, so now we head to topic 2, which was an ESPN Eyeball News article.
This one with a monocle.
Because you know ESPN has the eyeball right in it.
Yeah, right. Interesting. This comes from ESPN though, because they don't generally have actually hard-hitting journalism.
Yeah,
but
they don't care.
They do not.
Yeah, right. So Phillies Matt Strahm, who, if you don't know who that is, he's pretty much the only pitcher who's done any good so far this season.
Absolutely.
As of this recording, still with a 0.0 ERA through 2 starts.
Damn.
He disagrees with MLB teams extending alcohol sales.
Interesting.
Several baseball teams have amended their alcohol sale policies in response to shorter game times this season. Phillies pitcher Matt Strahm said during a recent podcast that he disagreed with extending alcohol sales beyond the traditional 7th inning cutoff, citing, quote, common sense and the safety of fans. He says the reason we stopped selling alcohol in the 7th before was to give our fans time to sober up and drive home safe, correct? Strahm said this on the Baseball Isn't Boring podcast.
I love that.
So
podcast,
now with
there you go.
Good one.
So now with a faster paced game and me just being a man of common sense, if the game is going to finish quicker, would we not move the beer sales back to the 6th inning to give our fans time to sober up and drive home? Instead, we're going to the 8th. Now you're putting our fans and our family at risk driving home with people who have just drank beers 22 minutes ago. This, of course, is as a result of the pitch clock, which has reduced games by, I think, on average, about a half an hour.
Yeah. Crazy. Yeah.
Which is great for going to bed.
No doubt.
Absolutely. It's been great for fandom on TV. It's been great. It's been absolutely great.
Yep.
To combat the time crunch, though, at least 4 teams, the Diamondbacks, Rangers, Twins, and Brewers, because we call people out here on this podcast, have extended alcohol sales through the 8th inning. Others, such as the Marlins and the Mets, still stop after the 7th inning, but haven't ruled out changes. The Orioles already sold alcohol through the 8th inning or until 3.5 hours after first pitch. Good God, whichever came first.
Oh,
but that's also for just not to shit on the Orioles. It's because that's a walkabout stadium. You're not driving to that stadium. You're taking mass transit. You're really not driving to get out of there.
That's a good point.
You're taking mass transit.
Yeah.
Well, Strahm said he's not surprised. When you mess with billionaires' dollars, they find a way to make their dollars back. My thing is, when you're looking at the safety of your fans, that's probably not the smartest decision to extend into the 8th. Matt, I'll go to you first. Do you agree or disagree with our ace pitcher at the moment?
Yeah, Matt Strahm, man, great year so far. I would tend to agree. I think because of the pace of play has picked up immensely, and you're done now a half an hour, less than what you were the previous year. It does affect alcohol sales in that regard, and I would tend to agree. Those sales essentially stop, and it's to his point. Seventh inning, that used to come like probably back in the olden days. If I had to think about it, 9:30 at the latest, maybe, because most of those games would end at around 10 o'clock. So you're thinking like, okay, last call is probably around 9, but now games are ending at 9 or at 9:30. So now you're pushing that half an hour back essentially to about 8:30. And yeah, there's still like, especially when we get into the summer months and the sun's going to be up a little bit longer. I would think you would want to be home safe as well. And you would want to make sure that your fans have that last beer in them by the end of the sixth or by the sixth inning to allow for time to kind of just let that settle. Then you're at least coherent, knock on wood, but at least you're coherent, at least to get
Been
out
to a
of the
game
stadium.
recently?
Well, I can only think about like one Eagles game that I went to, but that's a separate sport, and I realized that. But one guy was just absolutely plastered drunk, and I was like, dude, I just hope you get home safe. You get into a cab and just get onto your couch and just sleep it off for the rest of the day, because he was completely and totally plastered. That being said, though, I think having the shorter times, cutting it off at the sixth, allows that to at least digest, get fully out, and then you're at least by the end of the game, you can walk in the car, drive, you're done, no problem. I totally agree. I totally agree with his sentiment there in that regard. Whether or not the owners agree because of the money that they potentially may or may not lose, that's another whole ball of wax that I don't have any idea what that goes into in terms of revenue. And especially with the beer distributors and all that kind of stuff, I have no idea. But I would tend to agree with Strahm, though. I would want people to get home safe after a ball game. 100% agree.
John, before I go to you, Yankees reliever Michael King, some sort of a counterpoint, not totally, but said he believes there's a responsibility on everybody to prevent drunk driving, regardless if you're getting served in the seventh or eighth inning.
100%.
MLB does not regulate when teams sell alcohol, but most franchises have used the seventh inning as a cutoff, at least partly to avoid over-serving customers who could then get in their cars and drive home. Most teams already had areas around the ballpark, though, where fans could get alcohol after the seventh, even if the concession stand stopped serving. That seems a little shady to me. I don't know where you'd be getting alcohol that's not a concession stand. Strahm said no one ever wants to admit they're wrong, which I think is a problem in itself for our society, but it is what it is. We have to deal with what we're given. But just using common sense, we stopped it in the seventh for the safety of fans and people getting home. Like, it just makes no sense to me that you're going to allow it to the eighth inning. I think his understanding of why they cut it off at the seventh inning, I think, was my understanding. I don't know that that's true or not. It seemed to be Matt's understanding as well. Was that what you thought they stopped at the seventh inning for? Did they have something else, or
it kind of
makes sense of this for me?
It kind of started with the Eagles and the jail thing, because what was happening was people were getting there at 5, 6 in the morning, getting plastered before they even saw the sporting event, going into the event, getting served the entire time of the game. Like, it was more in reaction. I never really thought about, like, especially because of the prices. Like, if you're going to go and drink a six-pack, that's like $78.
Yeah.
At Citizens Bank Park. I don't. Not many people I know have that kind of money just to shit on beer for no reason during a regular season game. Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous. I agree.
I'd never thought of it like that. When he brought this up, the first thing I thought of was, oh, it's just corporate greed. It's a basic corporate greed system. Oh, the games are shorter. We'll just make up our time with, and that. I wouldn't even care if you cut it off in the third inning, like,
or at least halfway through the game.
Yeah, halfway. The sixth inning is fine. Like, I never really thought about the beer consumption of the baseball game until I saw this article, and it has me kind of, because I if we went to a game, I'd probably get a beer when we first got there. We would sit down. We'd probably eat, right?
Yep.
Maybe if the dude came by, the Bud Light guy, haha, funny. The Bud Light guy comes by, I might give him some cash and he'll give me another beer. And as we're having a good time, if there are people running around like each concession stand trying to get wasted, dude, you might as well just go to 2nd Street and go to the bar, because that's $2 a beer. You can hammer there. Why are you bothering people at the baseball game? I don't understand that concept of it, because that's what it sounded like he was talking about. Oh, everybody is hammered and they can't even get to their car. And that doesn't make any sense. Like, I understand we should stop serving alcohol at a point where everybody gets home safe. If that's the 7th inning, 6th inning, Major League Baseball needs to put their foot down, because if 7th inning was working and there wasn't a huge traffic fatality in each city, this is using smart people to do smart things, and this worked, then MLB needs to put their big boy pants on and say, Orioles, Yankees, Phillies, this is the rule.
Yeah.
I do not agree with each stadium has their own.
Yeah.
I disagree with that 100%. There's no I do not allow corporate greed in my life, and allowing these people to have a concept. Major League Baseball needs to step in.
I was going to say, even that sounds to me like more state law, but I don't even know if that's even applicable by state law. Like
because it's
cut off by certain days.
2 a.m., 1 a.m., 12 a.m. Some states can actually go to 3 or 4.
Oh, wow.
So the liquor laws are extensive. Like but in baseball, it doesn't fall under state law because it's an event. It's not a bar. It's an event. Yeah, so
it's an event.
Major League Baseball is the one who has to step in and actually put something down. Or you're going to get this. You're going to get that the Orioles serve it till the 8th inning. The Yankees might serve it until fucking the next year. They don't care. The Phillies obviously don't give a shit because they're just Mets.
Lord knows what's going to happen with the Mets, right, Johnny? I mean, who knows about that? But
the Phillies haven't even spoken about this. The pitcher did.
No,
the Phillies haven't changed anything. It's still the 7th inning. So
exactly.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
You guys both know that I don't partake at all. Of drinking, and people. They're adults. They can do what they want as long as they're not hurting anybody with it.
Amen.
Absolutely.
But, to me, at these sporting events, when you see bad shit going down.
Oh, yeah.
I can pretty much guarantee you 98% of the time.
It is.
There is overconsumption of alcohol involved.
No question.
But a lot of that, let's just have this quick caveat. A lot of that is because they allow the pregame stuff.
Agree.
That college atmosphere. I don't think that the venues are over serving people.
Agreed.
I agree with that.
Pre-game stuff, and that's where.
Well, I agree with that, but I also don't think there are safeguards in place at the venues where.
Agreed.
Because you could be completely off your rocker having had 4 beers in an hour.
Yeah.
And send me out to go get another one.
Exactly.
And whoever's the server is going to see that I'm not impaired and hand me a beer, and I could give it to you.
Yeah.
If I was a jackass like that.
Exactly.
I wish there was a way for these venues to be able to limit it in the way that your bartender could be able to look at you and say, "Yeah, I'm not serving you because you've had too many."
I think there might be a way to do it. Yeah, I think to your point, Steve, I think there is a way that if if there is only one, it's probably by specific location in a particular stadium. Let's just say, like, there is an alcoholic vendor that's there, and they're thinking like, okay, I've seen this guy twice, that's it, cut him off at that point. But to your point, you're exactly right. If let's just say you walk down another part of the stadium,
there's
another vendor who doesn't even know who you are. Oh, yeah, sure, no problem. You get paid, in that kind of deal. You bring it back to somebody, and they could continue to get plastered in that regard. So, yeah, I think there isn't a perfect way to solve this. But I think that John's point is right. If they're able to crack down on the amount of alcohol that's consumed prior to the game, that will go a hell of a long way to be able to try and reduce the amount of alcoholism and the amount of rowdy behavior that you see in that regard. But that, I think, would be on the team to take on, and probably the city.
It's more the city than the team, because
to enforce
the city,
it, right?
Yeah,
At
the
that
city
point,
holds that. They get the money from
whether
it,
or not
so.
they do it, who knows?
Maybe don't admit somebody if they already look like they're impaired.
And let me another caveat. I've been to the Eagles where we started at 6 a.m. They and the Phillies, Flyers also, their event staff is really good at handling. There's not many. We don't see stuff that we see in other cities where people actually get beat down and sent to the hospital. Philly does a decent job of corralling knuckleheads. They do. The event staff
we have experience.
Yeah, exactly. That event staff has time. They know that they're not playing around. I remember I was with a dude in a Phillies game. This was 2009, and he was hammered, like to a level that I couldn't even keep up with. I just wanted to watch a baseball game. This event staff dude came down and he was like, "Hey, brother, you need to come up with me." And he took this dude and he was able to handle him away from people and just giving him a chance. And that I've been to a ton of concerts in Philly, a ton of events in Philly. I think the event staff does the best they can. My point, if you're going to talk about the Philly rowdiness, is the city and the parking lots that they allow is insane. Because you're just allowing people to drink a 30-pack before they even get to the game.
Yeah.
Well, that's my solution is if they're drinking a 30-pack before they get to the game,
why are you
don't let
letting
them in the game?
But also,
if they know they can't get in, then they're not going to do it.
And here's my bizarre cut. Why are we even serving alcohol at the game?
Yeah.
Like, I feel that way. I like beer. I have absolutely no problem drinking beer. But I have also no problem going to a sporting event and not having a beer. Not even thinking
nobody. This is why nobody's going to pay $14 for a Pepsi. Now you get a free Pepsi if you're a season ticket holder for the New York Giants, but you're not going to pay $14 a pop.
But they'll pay. But here's the thing: they'll pay $14 for a beer.
Yeah,
I don't know. I never understood that.
I don't get it.
The Phillies beer, it's no bigger than this. Maybe it's like 16 ounces, so maybe it's a little bigger. This is $14 to $17. At the ballpark.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you pay that kind of money?
This is from a case from Walmart that costs $20.
Yeah.
Like, this is less than $1.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't understand.
The money is why they do it. And I mean, to me, if you can't enjoy something without drinking or
that's the point. If you can't enjoy, and this is something we need to say on air. If you don't enjoy anything and you just go to the event to drink, dude, you need to talk to somebody.
You got a problem.
Yeah, like, because that is I lived that life a long time ago, and I had to get some help for that because it wasn't a good situation. I was going places just to not remember it, and that's not okay. Like that is not good.
Yeah, exactly. Well said, Johnny. I'm glad you said that. I'm glad that obviously you're here with us.
And I like beer, so go fuck yourself.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, I do too. But yeah, moderation is always the biggest.
Yeah, moderation.
To your point,
moderation, moderation, in moderation.
Yeah, exactly. My whole point with the event staff, and I'm glad you brought that up because I could remember this was back when the vet was around. And that stadium, you had no room. To the event staff's point, you literally had brawls happening in 700 level, fueled by alcohol, 9 times out of 10, right?
Shitty stadium.
They would just throw down. And the event staff could not get into those aisles to break up the fights. And so nowadays, now you have room in those new stadiums where you're able to get in and identify those people and say, you need to come with me. You're not going anywhere bad, but you need to take a step back and essentially let this alcohol get out of your system first before you think about doing anything else at that point. And so I couldn't agree with you more in that regard, Johnny. The event staffs now, I think, in these stadiums, the newer stadiums, Citizens Bank, Lincoln Financial, Wells Fargo, they do a tremendous job because they have the room to do it. I think that's really, really important, having that space to get in, identify those people, and get them the hell out of there before anything happens that's really bad. Is everything. Otherwise, you're going to have brawls that affect not only just a row, but an entire section. Everything stops. Everything you look at, you go like, holy cow, what the hell's going on there? You're not even paying attention to the game at that point. And that just ruins the entire experience at that point.
All because a bunch of drunks decided to get drunker.
Don't forget about the text, too. You can text if you're in a situation in those arenas. I've seen that all over the country. They have a text where you can text a number. Safe spaces, which is important.
Can't ask for anything better than that.
Last thing we need on the road is a bunch of drunks with misaimed LED headlights.
And massive black holes. I'm sorry, super massive black holes.
Oh my.
Foreshadowing. Topic 3. Topic 3 is actually a twofer today. We got two
for the weird file.
I guess these are weird files. Science file, at least, at the very least.
Science file.
But I'm going to take issue with this first one here.
Please do.
This is a Daily Mail article. Runaway black hole is spotted tearing through the universe.
Uh-oh.
As NASA warns, there's an invisible monster on the loose. Get back to that in a second.
Yeah.
The supermassive black hole is barreling through the universe so quickly that if it were in our solar system, it could travel the 237,674-mile journey from Earth to the moon in just 14 minutes.
Wow.
Weighing as much as 20 million suns, it has left a trail of stars in its wake, measuring 200,000 light years, twice the diameter of the Milky Way. Scientists outlined the findings for the possible black hole in a study led by Yale University. Professor Peter Van Dockum said, "We think we're seeing a wake behind the black hole where the gas cools and is able to form stars. So we're looking at star formation trailing the black hole. While you might imagine a black hole gobbling up stars ahead of it, analysis with NASA's Hubble Space Telescope found that isn't the case. Instead, the black hole, which is 7.5 billion light years from Earth,
9 paragraphs down in the article. Go on.
is plowing into gas in front of it, triggering star formation. So the professor says what we're seeing is the aftermath. Like the wake behind a ship, we're seeing the wake behind the black hole. Matt, before I go to you, I just want to bitch about the headline of this article, which NASA warned there's an invisible monster on the loose.
That's right.
But 7.5 billion light years away, which, by the way, we just did the math right before we came on for the topic.
Ooh.
That equates to 4.41 times 10 to the 22nd miles
away.
And I haven't even had time before coming on here to put that into normal people terms. Just know that's a big frickin' distance away from us.
Yes.
So NASA really had nothing to warn us about. But in any event, Matt, you brought the article. What piqued your interest here?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the expanse of the universe, for one thing. I think that's just the one thing that always blows my mind whenever you start to think about black holes and the fact that you have this runaway one that's like tearing through the entire universe as we know it. But yeah, to your point, I mean, the gaslighting that took place in this article, NASA warning, oh my God. And I'm thinking like, wait a minute, what the heck's going on here? And then you read down further in the article, it's like billions of light years away from us. Whenever I hear the word light years away, it's a great reminder of just the overall expanse of the universe that we're living in. And it just blew my mind that right now there is this runaway black hole that is leaving essentially stars in its wake as it's tearing through. I mean, and it would make the journey from the moon to Earth in 14 minutes. That's wild. That to me is just unbelievable.
That journey would be very uncomfortable for us, by the way.
Yes.
Very much so, yeah. Very much so. Yeah.
The article goes on, researchers believe the runaway black hole escaped after two galaxies merged around 50 million years ago,
That's wild.
bringing together the supermassive black holes at their centers. Then, when a third galaxy came along with its own black hole, the three mixed, leading to a chaotic and unstable configuration. One of the black holes likely stole momentum from the other two and got thrown out of its host galaxy. As the runaway black hole took off in one direction, the two remaining black holes shot off in the other direction, according to the experts. John, in your expert astrophysicist opinion.
Because, I have that in my pocket.
Just your impression on this whole black hole pinball.
The article was funny because when I started reading it this morning, because I literally only read it this morning, because I was like, all right, I need to be prepared. I love that science media is back, and it's not just political all the time.
Yeah.
Like we can actually find these articles, and they are decently written. I'm a little confused, and I want to ask the scientist a question. So they're saying this black hole is eating everything, but didn't they also say that the stars are cooling down and reforming?
So what's going on is the black hole, as it's traveling, is hitting gas clouds that it encounters in the universe, and so it will eat some of that.
Yes,
but it will also heat up some of it, and as it goes by, and when the gas behind it cools, it can trigger star formation, because you have to have specific conditions for gas clouds to condense into stars. And so as this thing tears through, it can't eat everything, just because it's not how it works. It's not a giant vacuum cleaner suck hole going through a gas.
The article might be written
Roomba.
to say that.
I got nothing to worry about with the Roomba then.
Yes.
It's not going to suck me in.
I don't know.
It's possible.
Could be possible.
But as it goes through, it will heat things up as well, and then leave conditions behind it that can lead to star formation. So it's giving the right conditions. But you think black hole, you think everything just goes straight into the middle of it.
Before I read the article, I literally, that's what I thought was going on. And then when I read, but this is my point of happiness, is these articles come out for these conversations to happen. They weren't happening before. So I feel better about the world that we can talk about the black hole that might not be eating every star in its way.
Well written articles once you get past the clickbait headline. That's right.
Yes.
One question before we do move on, though, for Steve. Does a black hole ever stop? Meaning, like, we have a runaway one right now. Do you ever can a black hole ever slow down and actually stop? Or does it continually keep going?
Well, here's the thing.
Is it theoretically possible? Yeah.
Here's the thing. Out in space, see, things slow down here on Earth because of friction.
Yep.
Either from a hard surface or from just the atmosphere. So there's friction to stop things. Out in space, unless it encounters some other kind of gravitational field, or maybe the gas clouds it's encountering slow it down, it's probably not going to slow down.
Yeah.
So
keep on going. Yeah.
Keep on rolling.
It's a little tough.
Well, as I said, it's a 2-for-1. We got a second article here. This one, John, brought to us. Both of these have to do with massive things. I don't know what you guys were going on about.
I like massive things.
This is an Indy 100 article. Massive ocean discovered beneath the Earth's crust, containing more water than on the surface.
Amazing.
People apparently are only just realizing there's a massive ocean hidden under the Earth's crust. It turns out there's a huge water supply, 400 miles underground, stored in rock known as ringwoodite. Scientists previously discovered that water is stored inside mantle rock in a sponge-like state, which isn't a liquid, solid, or gas, but instead a fourth state.
Wow.
The ringwoodite is like a sponge, soaking up water. There's something very special about the crystal structure of ringwoodite that allows it to attract hydrogen and trap water, said geophysicist Steve Jacobson, apparently in a 2014 research paper.
Yes.
This mineral can contain a lot of water under conditions of the deep mantle. He added, I think we are finally seeing evidence for a whole Earth water cycle, which may help explain the vast amount of liquid water on the surface of our habitable planet. Scientists have been looking for this missing deep water for decades. From studying earthquakes and discovering that seismometers were picking up shock waves under the surface of the Earth, scientists were able to establish that the water was being held in the rock known as ringwoodite. And if the rock contained just 1% water, it would mean there is 3 times more water under the surface of the Earth than there is in the oceans on the surface.
Wow.
John, what brought this article to your attention?
Same as the article. I love that science is coming out and we can actually talk about these things. The Earth is what? I don't know the exact percentage. It's a lot of water.
70-ish?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
80% water. Yeah.
71. Yeah.
I think that number was calculated before they figured there was that much. Maybe I'm just
I'm not sure either. That's why I was trying to get some help there.
Generally, what you learn in school is the Earth is roughly 70% water.
Yes, there is a ton of water. We are made of water. There are a bunch of things on this Earth made of water. So, shockingly, after they've been looking for it for 40 years, we found more water. Of course you did. I think they, like you said, the 2014 paper, I just think the media actually went back to people finding shit instead of opinion-based, and now we can have these conversations because it's not all opinion-based anymore. We're relying on scientists again, which we probably should have been doing from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when there was a pandemic. Just saying.
Yeah, you could have used some scientists back then. That's how I feel about it. I can't wait to learn more because it's coming. Like that article said, it's rapid fire.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how many articles are being produced of these. Well, I'm pretty sure we were doing this 20 years ago. It's just it wasn't hitting mainstream media. Shame on mainstream media for not putting this stuff out.
You didn't have the prevalence of the internet 20 years ago that you have now.
Agreed.
That's true. That's true.
Which is both
or the
and bad.
or misuse of the internet through 90s to the early 2010s because they didn't know how to operate it.
Yeah, right. Matt, how much water do you store in your ringwoodite?
Matt, do you even know what a ringwoodite is or whatever?
I did not until this article was really good. Oh my.
Maximum capacity. That's what I'm saying.
I just, again, I find it amazing from a scientific perspective. Here is this amazing material that acts like a sponge to absorb and retain water in our planet. No one, that was the first time I had ever heard of something like that. And yet the more you think about it, the more it makes sense in that regard, because whenever it rains, it's like, okay, I know the soil absorbs it. I get that. But below the surface of even the soil, there is enough water retention, in these ringwoodites that have been created. It's remarkable. It is absolutely remarkable. I think it speaks to some, whoever created this planet, whoever did, was a genius in that regard. But that being said, I just find it amazingly fascinating. Here is this amazing material that, I had gone, of course, public, no one, all three of us went through school. No one talked about this in our science class, right?
Yeah.
First time I'd heard of it was this week. So, it just goes to show you, the more you learn more about this planet, the better knowledge you obtain about it. And who knows? I mean, it's like, I think, could it be possibly used for renewable water? Who the heck knows? Who knows? That's that's TBD. Yeah, that's TBD. Yeah. But I mean, it is utterly fascinating to me that this planet, this amazing planet that we're living on right now, has the capability to absorb and retain water throughout its entire life cycle and lifetime, I should say. That's probably the better one, not life cycle, but lifetime. Over the centuries that this planet has been created. It's utterly remarkable and fascinating to me. Yeah.
Well, that level of water retention is going to make it hard to lose weight.
Yeah, true. That too.
I'm glad we all learned the same thing at the same time, because none of us knew what a renewable white is or whatever.
Yeah, no clue. Yeah.
We all got it now. Now we know.
Yeah.
So if topic 3 was the weird file, this topic 4 is why can't this crap happen to me file.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yahoo Finance article. Google Pay just accidentally deposited money into user accounts.
Man.
Why it may be yours to keep. Damn.
Yeah, no, seriously.
Typically, the article says, bank errors are not something you want to see in your account, whether accidental overdraft fees or longer processing times for deposits. But if you happen to use Google Pay, you might have noticed a very welcome mistake recently. Google just accidentally added free money to user accounts, and in some cases, they are letting beneficiaries keep the funds.
Oh.
Yep.
According to Ars Technica.
Oh my.
Because that's reputable.
The deposits ranged from deposits from the Ars. All right. The deposits are
that happened earlier in the day, not now.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Had to take Metamucil for that one. The deposits ranged from $10 to $1,000 and came via Google Pay's rewards mechanism, one that regularly offers payouts after completing promotional opportunities, though the payouts are usually small and under $10. Anyone who benefited from the error would have received a message reading, "Dog fooding the Google Pay remittance experience," which is basically insider speak for what the hell. A test program that was probably only supposed to be transmitted internally at Google. Yes. Upon realizing the mistake, Google did send out a notification to those affected. But the great part is the tech giant is allowing some to keep their funds. The Google message read in part that an unintended cash credit was deposited to your pay account. The issue has been resolved, and where possible, the credit has been reversed. If we were able to reverse the credit, it has already been reflected in your account activity. If we were not, the money is yours to keep. No further action necessary.
How about that?
There have been no reports as yet regarding how much money Google might have accidentally deposited or how many people were affected. As Go Banking Rates has reported, Google was worth over $253 billion with a B as of September 2022. So their valuation undoubtedly remains high despite the error. Even so, said mistake has received a good amount of press and might have encouraged more people, John, to sign up for Google Pay in case such an error happens again.
There you go.
John, did this article cause you to use Google Pay?
Absolutely not. I just had to pay for my my Chick-fil-A for dinner last night, and it was easier to do on the app than it was to go in and talk to people. But like you said, $200 billion. They're not losing any.
They're not hurting for money.
Yeah, they're not worried about. This is the same thing as the Chat GPT and this is what happens when you keep people at home for a year and then you hire lower class people. This is not the best Google engineer that put this together, because why would you hit that button?
Well, and especially when it's called dog fooding.
Yes. Inter office emails are inner office emails are really quickly. We deal with this in the company all the time, and all the uppers always send emails out. Stop carbon copying on a
Yeah.
like. Not everybody needs to know your answer, even though it goes
Yeah.
out to everybody else. It happens
Yeah.
all the time in
All
our
the
company,
time.
and I've said millions of times to people, I don't know. How do you not know technology that if I get a mass email from the company, I respond to the dude
Mm.
or the lady that sent me the message giving the answer that needs to be but people don't do that, and that was exactly what happened with the Google thing. He hit send to everybody instead of just send to the 7 people we were going to try this on in the phones in the office, because we play around with these things, and that's
Well, Matt, do
Yeah.
you agree with John, or do you put on your tinfoil hat and agree with the article that suggests this may have been an intentional ploy to get more people to sign up for Google Pay?
That's interesting. I think this was a clear and obvious error and a mistake that was made. I would tend to think that way, and I think that happens more often than you think with a lot of the tech giants and things along those lines. As to whether or not it was intentional, that would be an HR department issue, I would think, at Google. And I would think if that was something that, if they have a disgruntled employee, that would be something that they would need to address with said employee. But that, with that being said, it doesn't really harm the company in that regard, because again, the valuation of that company is over 200 and some odd $billion.
I don't think the suggestion is you had a disgruntled employee do it. I think
Yeah.
the suggestion is Google did this intentionally, knowing it would get out in the press and people would sign up for Google Pay because, hey, I might get $1,000 I get to keep.
I guess, but that would be like the same as Bud Light saying, hey, we got a great marketing campaign. Let's see if this works. And it turns out that bombs in their face. I'm just saying in that regard. But I mean, I don't know. Companies do weird things to promote their products. And they'll try anything. If anything gets word of mouth, whether it's negative or positive, as long as it's word of mouth, you've achieved your objective as a marketing specialist or as a marketing department, in that regard. As long as you can get people,
good press, right?
No press is exactly. The bad press is good press too, in that regard. So it's catch-22. It's all the cliches you could throw out there, all the LinkedIn buzzwords you could possibly think of in marketing. Throw them out there, fill it in that regard. But
synergies.
I just wish it happened to me. Now I just wish, I wish I had a Google Pay account and I could have found $500, and that would have been great. In that regard.
Well, see, that's what I mean. Now you want Google Pay, don't you? Hell, this might happen again. Probably won't ever, because
I know, missed out. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, because they probably figured out the error that they created.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, until it was too late. It's terrible. So I don't know.
Oh well, no free money for us.
No,
what do you do?
Would have really helped, but
I don't even know. And here's
the thing, you got a Roomba. You could have paid off the Roomba.
Exactly.
And I'm too old to even understand how I would know that Google Pay would give me money. So it would just stick on my phone the whole time. I might have $1,000 from Google and I wouldn't fucking know because I don't know how this shit works.
How do I figure this phone out?
Yeah, I don't know. I send you guys text messages and post shit on social media. I don't know how to do anything else.
We had dinner one night. I think it was a team function. And I paid for our table, which included another family. And so they gave me money via Venmo, which I had used before at that point to pay things. But this was the first time anybody had given me money. It took me a good part of 3 months to figure out how I could take the money that was in Venmo and pay that to somebody else.
Wow.
Yeah, I could.
Yeah.
It's
that's wild.
I'm similar to you. I'm the same way. If a corporation would like to take money from me, I can easily do that. But if someone gave me money, I don't know. I don't know how.
Don't know what you would do with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Don't give it to me. Don't give it to me. Oh, wait a minute. Don't give it to me. Oh, wait a minute. Don't wait. You're kind of in that. You don't know what to do.
Yeah, I don't even know what the function would be. Legitimately, I don't even know if there's an app for that.
Google Pay Request money from Google. Hit send. Dog
No,
food.
but like,
I gotta go buy dog food. What the hell?
Your request has been denied.
but if I hit Chick-fil-A, I could get a chicken sandwich and it would use Google Pay. But I don't know how. I don't understand.
I don't get it either. Wish I knew. I wish we all knew.
Well,
we don't know. We're too old for this shit.
the inner machinations of the internet are an enigma.
Indeed.
And with that, we are wrapping up episode 133. It is
and don't forget to get off my lawn.
Done.
Well, I will not touch your lawn, Johnny. I'm just saying right now. I will not do that.
Awesome.
I think I've got a good distance between us. Just saying.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Might require an airplane to get there.
Yeah.
But it is on to 134. Matt, do you have anything final to say before your Roomba sucks you into a black hole?
Pollen sucks. The end.
John, do you concur with that assessment?
Steve, you will be in an episode just you and Matt's Roomba. Next week, that's gonna be interesting. I can't wait for that. I'll see y'all in a few weeks, or maybe next week. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
John will disappear at some point, but then we'll make him magically
we don't know.
reappear.
We actually don't know the time frame. So see you guys later. It was nice. It was nice talking to you.
Until next week, at least two of us will be here. Well, maybe one of us, depending on what happens with the Roomba. But
yes.
Until then, we'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Two Noobs Talking. Not only can you listen to our entire catalog here on YouTube, but you can also download us on your favorite podcast listening platforms, such as Apple, Google, and Samsung podcasts, along with iHeartRadio and others. Have a great week, and we look forward to delivering another episode of Two Noobs Talking. Take care.